If you continue to make money, you're going to continue to pay taxes. Your taxes aren't going to go down. So what do you need to do to solve that problem for yourself? And this is one of the best ways to do that while building cash flowing assets that's going to fund your retirement and then you can pass on to your kids. Welcome to STR the Best. I'm your host, Michael Chang. I have my partner in crime here, Liz. Welcome back.
Hi, everyone.
After a water break. So we're still here in Taipei. This is the third part of our series. And if you like hearing about how Liz and I have built the business and worked together, we have 2 episodes that we filmed prior to this. So check it out on the podcast. Please subscribe and share it with someone that you think would benefit from learning about our journey, about building a business together and raising our kids together. So part 3, right? I think we want to talk about how what I want to talk about is how we grew we've grown the Airbnb business, and now we've also built and grown our media education business, STR the Best.
Yeah, I think that's a great topic. I think we touched on it briefly before, but first I think people are curious, how did we even get the idea of starting a personal branding or a media business, like show our life publicly? That's like a big thing.
Yeah, because we started this in, we really started recording this in May. I remember May of 2023. Started with 0 followers, 0 everything. I think in the prior episode we talked about how keeping an open mind helped us even be here today. So I didn't want to go to this conference in Chicago. It was an Airbnb conference, and it was VRMA, I think, and it was like February, middle of winter, it's freezing. We have a 2-month-old at home. I didn't want to leave my wife. So what happened basically was we have a friend, Syed, who is an Airbnb operator in Chicago. We've known him for a long time. We've helped each other a lot in business. He's helped us a lot, and we've helped him a lot. So I wanted to kind of see him up there. So I go, and it's like 10 o'clock at the conference. I'm sitting there. I don't really know anyone. Or, I see a few people that I know, but I'm just like kind of waking up and kind of annoyed that I'm there. And then he texts me. He's like, hey, I'm outside. I was like, come meet me. I was like, I brought the new Ferrari. I was like, okay, cool. I want to see the Ferrari. Yeah. So I go outside, and then I see the Ferrari, and there's just 2 other people there.
Yeah. Probably no name.
They're young. I didn't know them. They're like, all like taking pictures of their car and like looking. I was like, oh, cool. Like, who are these guys? They're like, oh, they're in the Airbnb business too. I was like, oh, really? I didn't know them. And then they had like pretty good operations too. Maybe they had 1,500 units. I forget how much. But then they were showing me like what they were doing on social media and how they were talking about their building their personal brand and how powerful it was in growing their business. And before, the old me would have been like, oh, this is stupid. Like, I don't believe this. But, keeping an open mind and knowing Syed, he's like, hey, these guys are legit. They're really smart. And I was like, okay. And then we ended up hanging a lot at the conference. I learned a lot about their business. I learned about how they thought about growth, how they saw social media. They're in their early 20s. I was in my early 40s then. 2 very different generations. Just like so many things that were so outside of my awareness that I just didn't even know about. And then keeping an open mind and just listening and not being like, hey, I'm the guy with the MBA and the investment banking career, but having the mindset of I'm the guy that doesn't know anything about this stuff, and this stuff is growing rapidly, and I need to just shut up and listen to just absorb everything. And I came home to Liz, and I was like, "We're gonna launch the social media. We're gonna launch the social media channel and talk about what we're doing because it's so powerful."
Yeah, I remember you brought back with this idea, and I was like, "Are you sure? Sounds like so much work." And I think the biggest thing is like, are we comfortable showing our personal life? Because to build a personal brand, not only you're showing your journey, how you build business, but also very personal. You're building the connection with your followers. So I think that took me a while to overcome that idea. But I think you were pretty set. It was like, we are doing this. We're going to make it work. So right after we went into this phase of like trying to figure out how to make content, it was so hard for the first time.
I remember the first thing that we filmed, it was in the living room. And I had that stool. We had like a janky iPhone with the stupid lighting. you know, kind of like bad lighting,
yellow.
all yellow. The backlighting was bad because it was like, everything was wrong. But we did it though. Like we posted it. It got like 3 views maybe. But I think there's a little bit of like, if you believe in something, you know, you fall forward. Like, you know, it's not perfect, but as long as you fall forward, you're making progress. But yeah, it was for me, it was a huge mental hurdle, but I saw the power of what they were building a personal brand, the leads they were getting, the network they were building. And I knew instinctively, this is kind of like my superpower where like, I think now, like when I see something, I have a pretty good sense of like, does this have traction and like, should we lean into it? And I don't get that feeling that often. But when I do, I know to recognize that now and I know like really to lean in like really hard. Before I would be like more reticent, I'd be a little more like play it safe. But you know, I think now like I feel like it's worked a few times. Yeah. And I know that like every single time I regret not leaning in harder. So I just got to lean in harder.
I know. I think that's like the power of just showing up. You really just take action every single day. If we have like stopped, we probably wouldn't. Yeah, we wouldn't be here. We were posting every single day with nobody. Were looking at our content at all. It was maybe a couple views, 10 views.
10, 15 views. Yeah.
Yeah, probably some friends were questioning what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's an important part to bring in. It was like, I think your mom was living with us to help us with Athena.
Yeah.
And she was like, what the hell are you guys doing?
So what are you guys doing? Why are you guys filming yourself? Why are you talking like this? Yeah, she was very skeptical about the whole thing.
Why are you guys sharing your personal information, like what you're building, how much money you're making, how you're doing it? Like, aren't you scared that like someone's gonna copy you, or like even worse, someone's gonna come and attack you because like they now know like you're successful and they're gonna try to rob you?
Yeah, all of that. I think that all of those questions. But I think it's just the belief that when we see opportunity, we know we are smart enough to figure it out. Right. We'll protect ourselves, of course, but we know what to share publicly and just like have that confidence that we can build this into something bigger. But very early on, like we said, we realized we don't know what we were doing. We were scripting our own script. We were filming the wrong lighting, wrong camera. Everything was wrong.
Did it matter?
It didn't matter. It actually just get over the hurdle that start that first post. And once you're over that, you keep doing it, you know, it's hard. We need help. And that's when we start seeking out help pretty early on. And I think that's also what Airbnb short-term rental business taught us. You don't know what you're doing, hire someone better than you who have done it 1,000,000 times more than you and really accelerate your growth. And that's the power of mentorship or coaching.
Yeah, because like we were, when we started, there was none of this stuff. There were some YouTube videos. The biggest unlock was actually Syed, like who you met. And then we didn't know, and he helped us a lot with mindset. It wasn't really the execution side, but just like things that we just were just below our awareness or like we couldn't see, although they were right in front of us, what to do. Primarily just to really reach out instead of like going after single family homes, individual landlords, to really go after multifamily buildings because you can scale a lot quicker, a lot faster, a lot more efficiently. We didn't even think about that. We're like, oh wait, why don't we do that? And it unlocked everything that was a huge mindset shift. And I think that's partly why we started a mentorship program, because like, man, I wish someone would have just told us this like 2 years ago. We would have saved us so much time, money, and brain damage too. So much brain damage and like so much like wasted time where we're just doing things like an inefficient way because we just didn't know. But I think the point where you talked about like, us learning that lesson from building the media business and building the education business, because then we hired Alex and Izzy from TikTok.
Yeah. When TikTok was going
viral
2022. All the time, it was 2022. So we reached out to this couple we found online, and really they are young, in their early 20s.
They were in their early 20s then, yeah.
Yeah. Now we've been working with them for 3 years.
4 years now, yeah. So on that point, like we were looking for a mentor on how to actually build a social media business. And then we knew that we needed someone that can actually really understood us and helped us. We saw this couple, a very young couple, on TikTok. They were doing TikTok live, and I can kind of smell BS pretty quickly, but I knew these people were real. So then we we bought their course, and then we ended up hiring them for a mentorship program. And then we ended up hiring them full time, and now they work with us full time. Or we're a big part of their agency business now. And 3.5 years is a long time to work with a couple together. They have done a great job for us in helping us build this, and we wouldn't have this podcast or social media channel without them. So shout out to Alex and Izzy. Thank you for your support over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and being part of pretty close. We see them as a couple getting married, growing up. So it's just a nice feeling having the right business partner working together.
Huge.
That push of momentum is
the right mentor too, because we respect it. Even though they're half our age, or half my age, not half your age. Remember we hired the other more polished person when we found out Upwork. It was a disaster.
That was my fault. That was my fault.
It's not no, you know what the thing is? I think actually one of the big things that I realized is if you don't make mistakes, you never tried actually. True. Because you have to make mistakes because you have to swing. You have to try. And if you always going for the very safe pitch, you're never going to hit the ball very far. You're just if you never make a mistake, that means you never really trying. Because if you really trying to push yourself, you're going to fall on your face, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because that means you're making progress, and then the next one you'll hit it way further than if you just go.
And I think to take that action faster. That's something I learned. I'm always the scared one. I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm this more scared one.
I don't know. I feel like you're the more brave ones a lot of times too. I think you're willing to take. I don't know. I feel like I'm the one that's usually more conservative about those kind of things. Actually, I feel like I've tried to change that, but
I think in the sense me before I would be. We need to do more research about different mentors that we could have, and before we hire the right person. But I think the iteration of that is let's just hire someone. It doesn't work, find someone else. Doesn't work, find someone else till we find the right mentors. Because
the thing is you don't know what's right or wrong until you it's so new. You try, you're okay, I know this isn't we're not going to avoid that kind of archetype, right? Let's actually find a couple that or find someone that we vibe with early on. Yeah. And I think we knew really, and I also just trusting your gut too. We knew really early on that they were the right although there was a huge age gap, but they were the right mentors for us because they had a skill set and experience that we didn't have, and we really need it there. And I think leaning in on that, leaning into that relationship and trusting them, that was a big part. I never bought a course before. I had never paid for a mentorship before. It was a couple $1,000s, but for me, it was sending money to random people on the internet. I don't know, they could just not help me or just walk away and just not pick up the phone, and I'd be out my money. But then I realized that if it's all written down in a book somewhere, I'm learning in school, it's it's done. There's no opportunity there anymore. It's too late. The real opportunities that I see now, it's hey, it's early, and if I see something that I believe works, I'll see it on social media, I'll see it on Reddit, I'll see it online first, and it resonates with me, then I'm going to lean into it. That's where the information is now. And obviously you got to find the right mentor that is aligned with your values. I think that's actually really important. Align with your values. Alex and Izzy, very aligned, kind of family, doing things right, similar to us. It's been a humongous accelerator for us.
Yeah, it is. From just how do we create short form content more effectively? How we really build the momentum and then really stick with it. If we didn't have a mentor, we probably would have given up halfway. It's just so much.
Well, I wouldn't have given up. I would have just stuck at 3 views.
Yeah, you probably that's what I mean. You were stuck at 3 views and still just trying to figure it out on your own. How do I get to 10, 100 view, 1,000 view, and go viral? That path is actually very long, especially while you're doing it.
And raising a family and running a business.
Newborn and then another business. Have you ever doubt that business in the beginning?
Never,
Or are you just like,
never. I knew it would work.
yeah,
'Cause I knew that like one, there weren't many 40-year-olds doing this. So I knew there was a market there. Like, and I think two is I knew that we had a valuable, I think one, there was like a market opportunity I saw. I think two is like, I really want to tell our story because like, I really believe in like what we're doing. And I really believe that, and this is before like, we like started mentoring others and I'd be like, I actually wanted to show our work because we worked really, really hard on this. And, we were always so reticent to talk about it. And I saw the power of sharing the story and being very authentic and just telling it, and sharing. And it's okay to share. Like you're not giving away something. You're actually giving people value that they wouldn't have known. And if you give people value, you will get it back in multiples in ways that you never will have considered. And that's the power of, I think, just doing things the right way and having a good reputation. And because like it'll come back to you. Like, don't think about that. Just like share, and it's okay. Like you're not giving anything away. Like you're helping people. It's okay. It's okay to give. It's okay to give.
yeah. And I think that took us about a year, I would say, before we start seeing some traction. Consistently every day posting, showing up online, creating the podcast, start having people want to come to the podcast that talk
Yeah.
to us. So a year we finally had.
Took you 2 years to come. Took you 2 years to come and do this with me.
It's more a mental block for me. Yeah, it really is a mental thing. It's like, oh, I'm not good with the camera. I'm not good at talking in public, so I kind
You
of just
are.
avoid it.
And I think that's the opportunity for you. Like I think a lot of Asian women, Asian moms, like are like not scared, but like just there's this big mental block. And I think it's great that you can share the story from your perspective on how it is to work with me and how it is to build a business as from your personal, as a mom, like going through 2 kids and dealing with all that. Like it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, it's a lot in 5 years. You did.
Yeah, and I think one big thing to help me push through the mental block is I always ask, what would I tell my son and daughter when they grow up and they want to do something that's kind of scary they have never done before? What would I tell them? Then that really helped me push through the block, and I think that's why I'm here today.
Well, it'd be cool for them to listen to this episodes when they're older too. Like, hey, like mom and dad kind of like talking about their work.
Yeah.
And then from an unfiltered perspective. And I want to talk about how, we work together in the mentorship program. We launched STR Like the Best, which is the brand for our education business, where we teach investors how to launch their Airbnb business. So whether through rental arbitrage, where we teach them how to identify market, source properties, lease them, and then release them on Airbnb. So it's a really good cash flow business. That's how we started. You can learn how to run the business, and then how to buy Airbnbs. We started that program a few months ago with a lot of really good traction. But we're helping high income. So if you make a couple $100,000 a year, you're paying a lot in taxes, right? If you make 400 grand a year, you're probably paying 125K in taxes. Like, how do you stop paying all those taxes and buy real estate? So there are ways in the tax code in order you can buy Airbnbs and save a lot in taxes. And teaching me how to do that, it's been really rewarding. We have probably 15 clients right now we're working with. A couple of that are already locked in contracts and are on that journey. And how we split up that work.
Mm-hmm.
And how I think one actually, like, how do you think about the responsibility of teaching people how to buy properties? Like, I think you voiced to me personally, like, you feel a lot of pressure.
I do, especially this a new program, right? But something I'm very passionate about, and that go back to the last episode where I feel personally responsible to have everything perfect, right? So I want to find the perfect property for our clients. I do put pressure on myself, but then the more I do it, I realize you have to trust your expertise. When I see, and like we're saying, you have to really take swings. Trust my expertise, trust my own judgment when I see the right property. Be confident and advise the client, go see it. This will make you money, and this is ballpark how much is money is going to make. I probably will make mistake too, right? But I think that's the part of this.
Journey.
Yeah, part of this journey.
Yeah. Like I think I think one, you're reducing the risks for, they probably would make, people make bigger mistakes, right? Not to say that we're perfect, but I think we develop a method, and especially, buying 7 Airbnbs and doing this, like, we know what works. We're not going to lead someone down the wrong path. And I think you feel that personal responsibility where, like, to finding the perfect property, and we're going to find them like a perfect property for them. It may not be, the perfect property, right? But like, it's going to work for them. They're going to be able to have a great property that's going to save them taxes and cash flow for them. And I think it's great that you put that responsibility on yourself, because like, I think a lot of other people out there, they just kind of like, they don't take that personal responsibility. I think you have that in you where you're like, I'm going to, no matter what, I'm going to find you something really good that's going to work for you. And I think, I think a little bit still like imposter syndrome sometimes, that like I'm trying to like get you at, like, just remind you that like, hey, like, you know what you're doing, and it is a responsibility people are giving us, and we take that seriously, and we are delivering.
We really look at every opportunity the way we would look at it personally. And I think that's the power of our program, and having both of us. We have very different, distinct skill sets, and we can look at specific property opportunity from different angles. I think that's really beneficial, especially for our community, and really just cut down all those trial and error that we had personally from 10 years in this. There's a lot of brain damage, lots of mistakes that we made, and we just know where those pitfalls, and how to avoid them.
So let's talk about that, though, right?
Go, yeah.
The first part is like market, right? Like, and we have a lot of market knowledge. What works based on your budget, based on your constraints. So when we first start, we have a launch session with me personally, where we talk through, our clients, their background, like what they can invest, what their experience is, what tax liability they're trying to go after. So like, just kind of take a really full sense. It usually takes like an hour and a half to help them identify like what market's going to work for them. And then, you and I are working them kind of more directly afterwards. And this is in our concierge program, where they're looking at properties with our vetted network of brokers. And, you're analyzing property, I'm analyzing property. We're looking at it from like, hey, does it like why don't you talk about that? Like, how do you look at a property? Actually, versus me talking, like when you're looking at a property for a client, like, what are you looking at?
So let's talk about, once we have the client profile, what I really look at is, based on this client profile, what their financial goal is and the market, what fits within this budget. Then when I look at the property with the broker that we work with closely, they will identify some property that potentially can be a short-term rental. Then I take those really from the outside of the house to the inside of house. There are very specific formula you follow for short-term rentals. And if you're new to this, you probably wouldn't know unless you spend real time to teach yourself or learn from others. From the architecture of it, do I see the hero shot just from looking at the listing? What feature does this house have can help me sell this property online? End of the day, you're pushing this assets online. The way people book is virtual. No one's gonna go see the house in person and say, I want to stay here. It's on Airbnb or your direct website or booking.com or verbal, right? They will see from all this OTA. So you have to have that vigil in your mind already. Does this property has that? If it has that, then we keep looking. If it doesn't even have that, just from the first screen, I kind of rule it out, right? Does it have the amenity that can it potentially have all the amenity that we need to make this property work? And every market has very different needs in terms of amenity. Some market just needs more because the market's more competitive, you have more competition around you, then you need to do more things to make it work. Some market, you don't need to do all of that, a full-on backyard, right, with all the different games. Then what do you need in order to bring this to a profitable essence? So all those things is the deep dive we do after we get the client profile and then how we help them identify that right property.
They really benefit from your vision, right? The clients say, I think this is your superpower. You kind of see it and you know if it'll work or not. And then being able to be very detailed and formulaic and like, this is the formula that it takes to have a successful short-term rental. I think where I come in is like on the financial side, just like making sure the numbers work, connecting with the right lender, making sure tax side that like everything is like done properly. So, I think that's how we work really well together. It's like first, I can take the knowledge that I have from a financial perspective and tax perspective. Okay, like this is what you have. These are constraints. These are the markets that work. We have the network that knows what they're doing, that knows short-term rentals. And then you have the vision on like, when you see a property, does it work or not? And then we work together to figure out financially, does that work? And then from a tax perspective, does that work? From an operational perspective, like how do we stand this up? Like how does it all work? And then being able to deliver that to the client. And that's what makes our program, I'm so proud of like what we can deliver to a client because it's really differentiated. It's not just a cookie cutter kind of thing or, I think some people are like really good at one part, like maybe property identification, but they don't have the entire value chain. They haven't done everything, or they've only worked for a company that does like one part. But to be successful in this, like you have to kind of understand everything. And then we can actually deliver this to our clients and they can be successful. It's really cool to see.
We had this idea of this program probably.
You did.
I did probably more than a year ago. We just weren't sure how to launch it, how to execute it. So it took us so long to really come to launch this program, really.
Well, the tax side really helped, right?
And then with
bonuses,
the bonus depreciation coming back at 100%, that really helped us push through. Like we just have to try. This will benefit so many people out there, especially if we're paying so much taxes. This is a no-brainer. It's no-brainer, really.
It really, I think a couple of features, right? Like one is the program fee is tax deductible, right? So I think people don't forget that. I think two is it's not about buying one property. It's about building this investment strategy for yourself. If you continue to make money, you're going to continue to pay taxes. Your taxes aren't going to go down. So what do you need to do to solve that problem for yourself? It's your biggest expense. How do you control that, right? And this is one of the best ways to do that while building assets, cash flowing assets that's going to fund your retirement and then you can pass on to your kids. There's nothing else really like this. You can get a really good mortgage, a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. You can buy a property, you can use it, it'll cash flow for you, and it'll save you 6 figures in taxes. I'm proud to talk about it, and I love talking about it because I believe it's the best thing out there for you're a mom and pop investor. This is one of the best options you can do for investing.
The highest leverage you can get.
Highest leverage.
Yeah, from mortgage, from the tax saving, and to grow your personal wealth, family wealth, really. Because we have done it ourselves. We have seen the power
of it, yeah.
And now we want to giving back, like really show people how this is possible. So I think that's the power of this program. That's STR Concierge. And we can also talk about the elite program. The elite program.
Yeah, the elite program is where it's more group coaching. So you still get the one-on-one with me in the beginning. You get access to our network, but the coaching is more when in group, weekly calls within the group to motivate and answer questions, to teach on a topic. There's a well-defined syllabus where we kind of talk through each topic. It's not sequential, so it doesn't matter kind of when you join. You'll still get all the recordings and get the topic at hand. You get access to the network, but it's for people that want to do it more themselves and don't need the direct more hand holding that we do within the concierge program. So we've kind of developed that for folks that just want to be more of a group coaching structure versus a more higher level bespoke kind of concierge program where we really help guide the client through, each step of the process. So that's where, different people kind of want different things. And we've had really good uptake, and we've had really good results. We're hiring more staff, more resources to continue to support our community. That's really the power now that I think as we continue to grow this, I would love to launch a fund for people that don't want to, maybe they're just want to be really passive about it, right? They don't need the tax benefits immediately. They want to, invest with us and want to grow their real estate portfolio. I think we've had a pretty good track record of doing that. And I think there's going to be a lot more opportunity in some of the markets that I see next year or two. There's a meaningful opportunity where, we can buy maybe 10, 15 short-term rentals and, grow a fund. So I would love to, that's something that I definitely haven't, planned. And, I know you always wanted to create an event too, to meet everyone.
Yes, so that's on our roadmap. We've been the last couple of years building business with raising 2 really young kids. So we have been really busy. But that being said, we still really want to do in-person event to really meet all of our community, people who have supported us throughout the years, which has been like phenomenal to see the kind of growth that we have. Really want to throw an event in New York City sometime end of year this year. So stay tuned on that. And for those of us just found out about STR Like the Best, Michael or I, we also have a school community that if you're not ready or not sure if this is the right strategy for you, I think that's a really great place to start. We'll drop the link down in the description later. But that's a great place to really network with our community investor. Some of them are so successful after years inside the program, and it's a great place to really feel the water. Is it right for me, right? And network with other like-minded investors.
Yeah, that's a great point. And, I think maybe we would use it as an excuse. I think a little bit as an excuse, but I mean, I also raising 2 young kids is a lot of work. I think now, they're going to be past, our youngest will be past 2 years old in October. We've talked about, we did throw that event in Brooklyn last year.
Yeah, we did.
It was a huge success, actually. It was really good to meet everyone. So stay tuned. We want to do something in New York City, kind of Q4 2025. So if that's something you're interested in, please obviously reach out, and we'd love to hear of your interests or leave a comment in the pod. But now that we've had over 200 plus students within the community over the last couple of years, seeing the success, I think for us, we want to continue to grow that and help others in building that wealth for themselves and that time freedom for themselves. Airbnb investing is definitely a huge part of it, been our success. I think there's the mindset stuff as well. That's, if you listen to the last couple of episodes, you've seen a couple of these key mindset shifts that's really helped us grow as a couple and as business people.
Yeah, a lot of those moments. And I think for social media or personal branding, what is the biggest key lesson you had from 3 years? 3
years of this? I think there is we want to be consistent, right? And do this. But I think the really key lesson is this is extremely important. Building a personal brand for yourself, telling your story is no longer optional in the age of AI, in the age of, you see a lot of the dislocation, the labor market, a lot of people, now you're seeing a lot of sales staff being let go, a lot of middle management. Your job isn't safe. There's no safe job anymore. The only safety that you really have is what you own, right? We talk about you owning financial assets, right? It's important, real estate, Airbnbs, stocks, they all have a position within your portfolio. But what you own from your own work is your own personal brand. Who are you? Who is Michael Chang? Who is Elizabeth Chang? And being able to tell that story and being people that identify with you, that's a really, really powerful personal asset that you have to grow. And, for me, it was that meeting these guys outside of Chicago that cold February night or morning. And that has been a real life changer in how I approach business and my personal growth. And if there's one thing that you can get away from listening to, if you're listening to podcasts, you're obviously want to learn. And if this is something that you've been thinking about, I just really highly encourage you to tell your story, right? No one's going to tell your story for you but yourself.
I think that's a really great takeaway because personal brand is something not replaceable by AI. It's uniquely to you. And I hear some people always say, oh, but there are so many other creators just doing the same thing. I'm not better than them. But yes, you are, because you are so unique to yourself. No one is like you. So I think just do that first post. And then it doesn't need to be a perfect post. I think spending 3 years behind the scene really helped growing this as a, content creative manager here on your page.
You finally stepped out for your own too.
That's one part, but I think even behind the scene, there's always times like, oh, this piece of content is not perfect yet. We can push this out. But actually, no, you want to just keep posting. No one's gonna remember all the mistakes that you make, the stutter or any little things like that. But what they remember is like you as a creator, how you show up and share your story every day and really connect with you on a personal level, and then you just get better on every single time you post.
I think to end here, I think on that point, I think it's really critical. It's like no one can compete with you. Like no one can compete with Michael Chang. There's only one Michael Chang. There's only one me. No one can compete with you. Like if you're authentic and telling about your story, everyone has something to tell. Everyone has something special about themselves. And I think the great part of social media is like you guys just can tell your story, and what you have a phone, you have internet, you can tell your story, and everyone has something valuable to share. And I think with work, and I know, and I feel very deeply about this, is with the way of AI and the future of work, like being able to develop a personal brand for yourself is absolute. It's not optional. It's required. The longer you wait, the harder it'll be.
Yep.
So I just, this episode isn't about, this episode really is about like kind of us building our social media business or our education business. But it's really just like, hey, like how has this been so impactful to us, and explain that. And like, hopefully you've heard that, and if you had that idea, it'll encourage you to take that next step. So this will conclude the third part of our series here. I think, this has been really fun. I think us just talking. I do want to hit on the next, and we have for another hour here. I would love to just hit the next episode about how building a business has kind of evolved our thinking about how we raise our kids. I think that's kind of came up through the conversation, but I think that's just a really important topic I want to cover. So if you're interested in that, that'll be the fourth part of the series. If you enjoyed this, thank you for listening. Please leave a comment below. Let us know kind of your thoughts. Please follow us on social media, Michael Chang B&B, Liz Chang page, both on Instagram. And then if you like the episode, please subscribe. Please do share it with someone that you think would enjoy this. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. We'll see you on the next episode.
See you next episode. If you found this episode valuable, please make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can get notified when I put out new content on Airbnb investing. And if you want to learn about how to work with me more directly, I have links below on my description. Click on those and let's figure out how I can help you with your Airbnb investing journey.